What's up, everybody? Coming at you, Week 6 Buffalo Bills recap. Bills defeat the New York Jets 23-20 Monday Night Football in the Meadowlands. Moved 4-2 on the season, 2-0 in the division, and they have a nice little comfy cushion there in the division lead for now. So feeling good today as a Bills fan. But yeah, we'll get into the game. We'll break it down a little bit. I'll give some thoughts. First off, what a terrible night it was to be a kicker. There were combined 3 missed field goals and then 1 extra point. I mean, bad night to be a kicker in East Rutherford, but in the end, there was a field goal that made the difference. Tyler Bass was able to dig down just enough and kick the Bills' go ahead field goal with, I don't know, about 3 minutes left or so in the game. But yeah, it was a rough night. I mean, it was super windy. The announcers documented it pretty well, but kind of surprising that Zuerlein had 2 misses, especially back to back. He's pretty consistent, but not that big of a surprise if you're a Bills fan. Tyler Bass. If you're a golfer, there's the word that you never want to say, because once you develop it, it's hard to shake it. But it sure seems like Tyler Bass has got a shank problem, man. It's like he's got no confidence in his kicks, and after he kicks the ball, it's like he's surprised that he makes it sometimes. It's concerning. It's more concerning that Brandon Beane hasn't went out and tried to make some kind of a move to at least keep him honest, to bring in some competition. I know they've brought in a couple guys for workouts, but to my knowledge, they haven't signed anybody. They haven't, they haven't even threatened his job whatsoever, and he's not been very good this season. And if they're not careful, he's going to end up costing them games further down the road this year, and games that could determine where they seed out in the playoffs at the end of the season. So that was a big concern I saw right off the bat. Offensive side of the ball, I thought it was a fairly good game plan. I like that. I like that they're committing to the run. They're finally trying to take some of that weight off Josh Allen's shoulders, so he doesn't have to be Superman every snap of every game. But coming into the game, James Cook wasn't going to play, had a toe problem. So you had Ty Johnson, who he doesn't see all that much action, and then you have a rookie. We're going to be your 2 main guys, and then the third back was another rookie in Frank Gore Jr. So it was, you weren't sure what you were going to get. But Ray Davis, I mean, he had a very good college career. The few glimpses that we've seen of him, the first handful of games, he showed why the Bills drafted him. And last night, man, what a statement game for him. Over 100, I think it was over 150 purpose yards total, that 90-something on the ground, and then obviously he had that big catch from Allen, the 40-some yarder that padded his receiving stats. But what a statement game it was for Davis there, man. He definitely looked like a guy that has definitely solidify the number 2 spot, and if James Cook ain't careful, he could come and take his starting job for sure. So that was good to see, and something I've said in other videos is the call for Joe Brady to not panic and to stay the course with the run game. Don't give up on it if you have a bad play here or there, because that he's had a very bad tendency of doing that. And last night, granted there wasn't many negative or 0-yard gains, on the ground. There were a few that definitely didn't get the result they were hoping, but they stuck with it, man. He was definitely given opportunities, and that's going to ultimately be the reason why Buffalo has any kind of success later in the season, for sure, is if they're able to keep the ball on the ground and produce positive drives. So that was great to see. And then obviously Josh just being Josh, the scrambling outside the pocket, extending plays, and basically making do with what he's got, in the receiving corps. It's kind of surprising to me that Dalton Kincaid hasn't been actively involved more than he has. You see games around the league where tight ends are being used vertically down the field, and I don't get why we don't have that same kind of approach. That's what Kincaid was in college. He was a threat to go down the field and catch the ball, and for whatever reason we're just using him on these little 5-yard out routes and quick inside slant routes. Like, we're not using him how I think we should be using him, in my opinion. So that's something that's kind of surprising. But even handicapping Josh, taking away a guy like Kincaid, he's still making plays. He's got a rookie in Coleman that he's definitely still coming into his own. Still trying to. I still think he's trying to figure out the whole NFL deal. I mean, he's not getting good separation at all, and he's had a couple drops that he shouldn't have dropped. It's an NFL. He's an NFL player now. It's there's catches he's got to have, and but I'm sure part of that's being a rookie for sure, and and another guy that's kind of been non-existent so far this season was Curtis Samuel. The Bills went out and got him, gave him a pretty decent contract, to be the wide receiver too, and they hadn't really used him the first handful of weeks. If anything, you saw him line up in the backfield to I guess throw defenses off or something. I don't know what they were doing, but finally got his touches last night, made some plays, and like I said, man, to Josh's credit, he's doing what he can with what he's got, and recording this on Monday afternoon, news just broke a couple hours ago. Finally, he's getting some help. Amari Cooper's coming to Buffalo. Bills trade a couple draft picks to the Browns, get Cooper back, and then a late, I believe it was 6th round pick in 2025 from Cleveland. And I mean, he's immediately going to be the number one receiver on this team, and I can't believe that the salary that they're going to pay a guy like Cooper, who's a Pro Bowl wide receiver, who's a established number one guy on a team, and the Bills are going to end up paying him less than $1 million this season, and all it costed them in the end was really one draft pick, because they get one back from Cleveland with Cooper. So I mean, to me, that's just Buffalo robbed Cleveland and got they got Josh a guy finally to help. So for a team that's 4-2, has a comfy lead right now in their division, and now they're finally getting some help on offense in an area where they needed it. Love it. Finally something we can be excited about on the offensive side of the ball, passing game wise. So but yeah, and then defensive wise, I'm confused by our defense. They come out so flat, and for a team that's got the defensive coordinator and Bobby Babich, who is a guy that is just he's like a hair on fire, just a high energy guy. The defense comes out and they do not look inspired at all. And I don't know if it's poor game planning, poor, just I don't know. I mean, they just come out and they just look bad. They let teams go right down the field on them, and then it's like right around halftime, they start to, figure some things out and are able to slow them down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, to start the game last night, Rodgers was having his way with our secondary, man. He was picking us apart, and it wasn't really all that hard for him, even with the Jets' offensive line that is terrible. And the Bills, they were getting pressure and they were getting their hits on Rodgers, but he's able to get the ball out to his guys, just soft coverage, and just I don't know. I really don't know what they do in preparation, for the first few drives of the game or whatnot. But whatever they've done the last month now, they got to fix something, because you're going to end up having more games like that Baltimore game where you just get absolutely curb stomped. And there's luckily, you look at the Bills' schedule, and there's definitely, a handful of games coming up where it's, not your perennial Super Bowl favorite teams, but teams they should beat. And maybe that'll be a good time for them to right in the ship, because then after those couple of games, then you got the Chiefs on the horizon, you got the 49ers coming, so I see maybe this next month is a time for the Bills defense in particular to really, figure some stuff out. And hopefully Brandon Beane's not done dealing, man. We definitely need some help in the secondary. There's rumors that the Cardinals are listening to offers on Budda Baker. Man, that'd be nice to get. And then, yeah, obviously, like I touched on earlier, the kicker. We got to do something there, man. We got to bring somebody in for, competition, or go out and make a trade. I mean, you don't see many kicker trades, but I mean, we got to do something, because, like I said, eventually, Bass is going to cost us a game, and it could cost us our season. It could cost us, a certain seeding in the playoffs, and something they should do now, sooner rather than later, for sure. So, that's kind of all I got, game wise. I will say it was just it was an ugly game, just overall, man. It was literally every play there was some kind of a penalty, and when you have, I think it ended up being 22 total accepted penalties between the two teams for over 200 yards in penalties. I mean, figure it out, guys. I mean, granted, a lot of it was very ticky-tack stuff. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers himself in the post-game presser said, the roughing the passer call on both quarterbacks shouldn't have been called, and a few other ones. And there was a lot that got called last night. A lot of personal foul ones too, which, I mean, you're basically making the game about yourself when you start throwing out 15-yard penalties like that. Because, I mean, yes, these teams are good to an extent, but you can't keep putting them behind the 8 ball every drive with a 15-yard penalty. So it was very frustrating to watch. And going forward, man, hopefully that officiating crew, maybe they brushing up on the rule books, or they take a chill pill or something, man, before their next the next game they work. Because holy cow, they were on TV probably about as much as Taylor Swift was last night at the Yankee game. So but anyway, that's it for this week, man. Buffalo finally they return home after the long road trip to start the season, and they'll host the Titans. Titans are they're kind of in a transition spot right now, and hopefully it's not a game that Buffalo's going to go into and take lightly. Hopefully it's a game we're going to go in and use as a a refresher to work on some stuff that we've kind of gotten away from these last couple weeks. So, yeah, hopefully next week we do this. We're looking at the 5-2 Bills, and who knows, maybe Amari Cooper will have a touchdown or a big impact game in his first game. So we'll see. But anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in as always, and go Bills.